First of all, very good morning and thank you, Khushi and Vidya, correct? Thank you. And a very good morning to each one of you. I welcome our chief guest, Sri Sushil Bhaveja, our guest of honor, Vaibhav Tamle. We are also joined by two of your colleagues who are also 2010 batch, who are there, Shakshi and Shrishti. Okay, so welcome to the campus. My dear faculty colleagues, friends in administration, and of course, the class of 2026. Welcome to IMT Ghaziabad and hearty congratulations to each one of you. All of you deserve a big round of applause. The two previous speakers, first Gurmeet and then Dr. Banali, both talked about time, okay? Dr. Gurmeet talked about time, how you utilize it, and then Dr. Banali talked about unprecedented times, okay? And for you, this is an important journey which is beginning. You arrive here with aspirations, ambitions, and expectations. Over the next 2 years, you will acquire knowledge, Madam was talking about that, develop skills, and build lifelong friendships. The one who is sitting next to you today will become a lifelong friend. Just now you can see that Vaibhav and Shakshi, Shrishti, they are all from the same batch working together. And you will also prepare yourselves for opportunities and challenges that perhaps none of us can fully predict, because both talked about time and the times are unpredictable. And that is precisely why I would like to begin with a simple question. The question was asked by Madam also. What kind of professional will the world need when you graduate? And that is a very important question. For more than a century, we have organized work around labels. White collar and blue collar. You have heard of these terms now? Blue collar and white collar? Managers and workers. And you said that I want to do an MBA because I want to become a manager. Thinkers and doers. Some people were expected to create strategy while others were expected to execute that strategy. Correct? Today, those distinctions are disappearing. Artificial intelligence today can analyze data. Algorithms can generate insights. Machines can automate tasks that might have required years of human expertise. As technology becomes more capable, the distinction between thinking and doing is collapsing. The future belongs to a different kind of professional, and that is important for all of you. A professional who can think and do simultaneously. A professional who can work alongside intelligent machines while exercising uniquely human judgment. So you work with machines, and at the same time, you need to have human judgment, two aspects. A professional who can simultaneously learn, adapt, create value in a world which is today defined by uncertainty and change. I think the disruption has become the new normal. So what kind of professional will be the professionals of the future? Probably we will go out of those definitions of white collar and blue collar. The future will belong to probably the collarless professionals. That's how the world is probably emerging. And that is what we hope you will become during your years at IMT, the way you will utilize your time. Many years ago, personally speaking, when I began my own journey as a teacher, I believed that education was largely about finding answers. Experience taught me something very, very different. The most consequential decision of my career were never about having complete information. I never took the decisions, the most important decisions with complete information. They were about making choices when information was incomplete. Even with AI, you will find that complete information is not available. When the future was uncertain and when there was no obvious right answer. Yet you have to take a stance. Whether it was about building new institutions, leading change, making decisions that affected my colleagues and my students, I discovered that leadership is not about certainty. We always look for certainty, but let me tell you, leadership is never about certainty. Leadership is about making choices amidst uncertainty, and taking, and that is the most important part, responsibility of the consequences. Okay? The lesson has only become more relevant today. The collarless professional is not defined by a designation, a function, or even a degree. Your designation will not matter. Now you are very walk with functional silos like I'm in marketing, I'm in finance, I'm in operations like that. Those silos will not be there. And your degree will flatten. Okay? So that will not be a distinction, let me tell you. What will define the profession of the future are the capabilities that machines cannot easily replicate. The capabilities that machines cannot easily replicate. In my view, and I was thinking, what are those capabilities? And I identified 3 such capabilities. And I will share each one. The first one is the ability to make choice. The future will not suffer from shortage of information because there will be information overload. Okay, you do something, there's so much of information. In fact, information is becoming abundant. Artificial intelligence will also provide you with the alternatives. Data will generate insights. Algorithms will suggest options, so there will be multiple options which will be coming out. But life and business rarely present us with the perfect answer. There is nothing called perfection. Most important thing about leadership is learning to live with imperfections, let me tell you. So the professional of the future must know how to navigate ambiguity, evaluate trade-offs, and make choices when there are no obvious answers. The value of a leader will not lie in possessing information. Nowadays, you will see there are many professionals, leaders who want to hold on with the information as if that is the thing. Okay. And I learned a new language here in UP, Uttar Pradesh, which is virtuous, that you protect your territory. And that is the kind of leaders you see in the exteriors. Okay. So, the leaders used to think that by possessing more information, I can create information asymmetry, and that is power. That is going to end. Okay? Because information will be available, and you will have to exercise choice from those alternatives. So how do you make choice will determine what kind of leader you will become. That is the first thing, ability to make a choice. The second ability that you will be required to develop is the ability to exercise judgment, and that is very important. The significant decisions involve balancing competing interests, okay, all the time, okay? And, if you want to change the curriculum also, there will be competing interests. Some faculty will say, okay, no, this is a course which is most important. Okay, some faculty will say, no, this is not important. So there will be various interest groups which will be emerging in any kind of situation. And that you will also face on a day-to-day basis. So what you will need to look at is how do you balance those interests? Interests of your own team, interests of the organization, your customers, the shareholders, the society, and more importantly in today's context, also the environment. Okay, and you are in Delhi, you will see during the winters why it is important to also balance the interest of the environment. Technology tells us what is possible. Judgment helps us decide what is appropriate. That is very important. Judgment allows you to decide what is appropriate. Technology can optimize outcomes. Judgment determines what outcomes are worth pursuing. Technology can generate recommendations. Judgment decides what is right. In a world increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence, sound judgment will become one of the most valuable human capabilities. So that is the important thing that you have to develop. How do you make a judgment? The third part, if you make a choice and you exercise your judgment, then the third part becomes very, very unique and very important, and where you can beat the machine, which is the ability to take ownership. Taking ownership of the decision. A machine can recommend a decision, a machine can generate forecast, a machine can suggest a course of action, but a machine cannot take responsibility of the consequences. That only humans can take. Leadership begins where responsibility is fixed, because you will be responsible for the decision that you take. This is the decision I believe right, and I'm prepared to accept responsibility for its consequences. You have to tell it to your team, to yourself, and to your board. Ownership cannot be outsourced. Machines cannot take ownership of the decision. And that is why it remains fundamentally human. These machines cannot take. At IMT Ghaziabad, our aspiration is not merely to prepare you for the first job. Our aspiration is to prepare you for a lifetime of meaningful contribution. That is why our philosophy goes beyond courses, credits, and classrooms. You have heard your friends talking about that. So we have industry engagement. That's why 2 of your alumnus are there and 2 others are sitting over there. Role competency development, internships, projects, competitions, international exposure, and interactions with practitioners, and even with the NGOs. You will be challenged to apply what you learn in the classroom, where the answers are not readily available. Our goal is not merely to help you acquire knowledge, our goal is to help you develop judgment. Not merely to prepare you for placement success, but to prepare you for long-term career success, and that is important. To make you more valuable, you will discover that some of your most important learning will happen outside the classroom. And what are those learnings? Yes, you will learn through failures, and that is important. Remember, you will encounter failures, okay? Whether in courses, whether in presentations, whether in competitions, you will fail, okay? I have experienced both successes and failures in my own career. And I can tell you that failure is not the opposite of success. More often, it is the price we pay for learning. Okay? Through failure, you also learn certain things. So the most valuable lessons I have learned came not from things that worked exactly the way I wanted to, but from moments where plans had to be rethought, assumptions had to be challenged, and new paths to be discovered. And every day that happens. If I say something, okay, my dean, Dr. Bandali will come and say, okay, ये हाथी मुड़ेगा कि नहीं आपको नहीं मालूम, ठीक है? So, okay, fine, you have to replan, maybe, okay? And Dr. Gurmeet will say, sir, we have to do it this way. So, which means what? There is one more thing that you have to develop, okay? Through these experiences, you develop resilience. You wait, tab हाथी मुड़ेगी, okay? They taught me that growth rarely happens within the boundaries of comfort, but you have to keep on pushing the boundaries. That is important, okay? So when you encounter setbacks during your time here, and you will encounter those setbacks, do not fear them. Learn from them. Because the future belongs not to those who never fail, but to those who never stop learning. So you have to be a continuous learner. These experiences also make us humble. Dean Madam talked about the humility. And when you encounter these experiences, you also become humble. And as you begin your journey at IMT, I encourage you to remain curious, ask questions, challenge assumptions, experiment fearlessly, learn continuously, and embrace diverse perspectives. Don't say that, I can only have fish and curry. Enjoy dosa, okay? Enjoy also the sarso ka saag. Both you enjoy. Okay. So embrace diverse perspectives. And remember that education is not the accumulation of information, it is the development of wisdom. The future will belong to those who are agile enough to learn continuously, adaptive enough to embrace change, and authentic enough to remain anchored in values. It will belong to those who can combine technological capability with human wisdom. The purpose of education is not merely to create wealth, it is to create value and be happy. If we look at our scriptures also, they say the way it is defined is the purpose of education is well defined. My faculty colleagues know about it. I have repeatedly said that, but I would like to repeat that again for all of you. The way it says is Vidya dadati vinayam, vinayat dati pattatam, pattatva dhanam apnoti, dhana dharmam tatasukam, which is Vidya dadati vinayam, means Vidya or education makes you humble. Vinaya dati patratam. A humble human being, a humble person becomes a good human being. Okay? Patratva dhanam apnoti. A good human being earns wealth. Dhana dharmam tata sukham. When you have the wealth, you use that wealth for the right means, for the right purpose. Dhana dharmam tata sukham. And when you utilize your wealth for the right purpose, you become happy. And ultimately, why you are here, why you want to do all this? Because we want to become happy. So the beginning is to be humble. Because that when you become humble, there is a willingness to learn and you will become a continuous learner. So the purpose of leadership is not merely to achieve results. It is to leave things better from the way we found them. If you go to an organization, if you have come to an institution, you will leave the place better than the way you inherited it. When future historians look back at this era, they may not remember the AI model which was most dominant, which technology platform actually prevailed, or which algorithm generated the most efficient outcomes. They will remember whether our generation used technology to create a more prosperous, very important, sustainable, and an inclusive world. We are in a situation where one human being is going to become a trillionaire. You know, who is going to become a trillionaire? Okay? Now, how do you make the world inclusive in a situation where there is such kind of a disparity which is going to happen? That's a challenge. How do you make it sustainable? How do you make it inclusive and more prosperous and more equitable? That is very, very important. That is the challenge before all of us. But to become responsible stewards for the future, you will be responsible for the future. 2 years from now, when you graduate from this institution, I hope you will live with more than a management degree. I hope you will live with confidence to make choices amidst uncertainty, the wisdom to exercise judgment amidst competing stakeholder interests, and the courage, and that's very important, the courage to take ownership when the consequences actually matter. Okay, to come forward and take ownership of the consequences. So welcome to the age of collarless professional, where you will need to find answer to the question. And what is that question? What does it mean to be human in the age of intelligent machines? Again, I repeat, what does it mean to be human in the age of intelligent machines? To make choices, to exercise judgment, and to take ownership. Before I wish you the best, I would like to end with a prayer which was there in my school. And I don't know how many of you actually studied in a Kendriya Vidyalaya. Just raise your hand once if anyone is there. Quite a few are there. Okay. We had a prayer which is from the Shanti part of Kathopanishad, the conversation between Nachiketa and Yamraja. Okay. And the prayer goes like this: Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saviram Karavavahe तेजस्वी नावधि तमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I will tell you the meaning why. So, what we pray, and remember all people who are very eminent, leaders who are very powerful, they also prayed. Whether it is, Swami Vivekananda, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, all of them prayed. Mahatma Gandhi, all of them prayed. And the meaning of this prayer is, as you start this journey as a learner or a student, may He protect both of us. May He nourish both of us, that is the student and the teacher. May we both acquire the capacity to study and understand what is to be learned. May our study be long-lasting and brilliant, and be very important in the teacher-student relationship. May never be any ill feeling between the student and the teacher. And the three Shantis are, Adhyatmik Shanti, which is about, yourself, to be in peace with yourself. That is Adhyatmik Shanti, inner self. Then the Adi Bhautik Shanti, which is like this environment. This is air conditioned, even though it is 45 degrees outside. Okay, that is Adi Bhautik Shanti, the immediate environment. And then Adi Daivik Shanti, that if there would have been a corona or some kind of that kind of a situation happens, then none of us will be there, we will all be under lockdown. That is Adi Daivik Shanti. So we pray for three types of Shantis: Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Daivik. Let there be peace, peace and peace. I wish you all the very best for your journey at IMT Ghaziabad. May you all shine and become proud alumnus 2 years from now. Thank you so much. Wish you all the very best.